laws will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat.
Yes, and welcome. Come on, welcome to another fun-fested episode of Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli. You know who we are. You know what we're here to do. Joining me as over, my ride or die friend, XG, everybody.
Ooh, what's up?
The kids are going crazy. They love XG. They love them. They love them. Guys, what a wonderful time to be alive. So much amazing thing. This episode's going to be great. This episode's going to be great. This episode is brought to you by our good friends at BetDSI. That's right. BetDSI, okay? This is a wonderful time to start gambling, dude. Get into those. We got World Series starts this week. My favorite, basketball's going, dude. Clippers looking good. Kings looking good, too. Everybody's looking good. It's a wide open season. You make bets, and the NFL is almost midway. Unless you're a Raiders fan, you're loving the sport. So go to BetDSI. Use the promo code HAT100, okay? And you can get $20 betting cash. They'll take care of you. Help the show. If you like to gamble, help us out, because this stuff helps us grow. We got the website about to drop. The new website's going to look sick. So we appreciate you. A lot of live shows coming up, guys. You want to see us live? You want to see some well-crafted, multi-layered dick jokes about lizard people? Come get some. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, at the Comedy Store. It is Comedy Chaos. We got a killer lineup. We've got Ari Shaffir, Tom Segura, Crystalia, Whitney Cummings, the Lucas brothers, shout out black people, Mookie, who is a white guy, Mookie Thompson, and Tony Hinchcliffe from Kill Tony. That's all there. That will sell out. And then this Sunday also, another Comedy Chaos Sunday. They're going to have that. Keep that up. Oh, yeah, they're going to have that in the main room. It's Bobby Lee right now, Eddie Bravo, and I'm putting together the lineup. Guys, this Thursday through Sunday, I am live at the House of Comedy. That's right, House of Comedy, just 1 hour of me spitting them truth bombs, dude. Go to az.houseofcomedy.net and grab your tickets. Guess what? They love me so much. Tickets are $1 now. I'm the 99-cent comic. All right? They put me up against a major fucking festival, okay? And it's like Bill Burr. No, come see me, dude. I promise you. You will not hear better jokes than I'm going, dude. I am crushing it right now at the Comedy Store. Crushing it. So come out and see me. Grab those tickets. It's the only time you're ever going to see me for $1. I hope, okay? I hope. And then next week, dude, it is Tinfoil Hat Comedy Night, Texas style. That's right. Friday. November 2nd, I am at Hyenas in Plano, Texas, dude. Me, Sam Tripoli versus everyone. I got a killer lineup of comics. Look at that poster. It's lovely, okay? Come see me. I haven't played Texas. I haven't played Dallas in 10 years. This is the first time I'm back in Dallas, the Dallas area. Come get weird with me, okay? And then the following night, November 3rd, I'm at the Secret Group, Eddie Bravo, at the Tinfoil Hat Comedy Night. Eddie Bravo, myself, Reed Baker, and we're doing it at the Secret Group in Houston. And then I promise you after that, we're going to stare at fat black stripper asses, okay? That's what we're doing. We're talking lizard people, and then we're going to go see quality black strippers, because in Texas, they're even hotter, okay? And then the following night, Sunday, we're going to the Mecca of Conspiracies, all right? Austin, Eddie Bravo, myself, Tinfoil Hat, live at the stateside at the Paramount Theater in Austin. Grab your tickets. Those tickets are actually moving. They're all doing well. You guys are doing great, and I appreciate you. The fucking Patreon's rocking, okay? And then the Facebook group. What is the Facebook group? It is the Patreon. Go to patreon.com, tinfoil hat. Okay, check that out. And then the Face group. Join the Face group. It's a very exclusive group. Not everybody can get in. It's a private group. You got to show how much you love Tinfoil Hat. And join it and join the community.
600 members strong.
Yeah, how much?
Yeah, 600, and we just, I think, what, 3 weeks? 2
Yeah,
weeks?
that's pretty good,
Yeah.
man. I mean, it's a start. It's a start. So that's our business. Joining me is returning champion. Literally, I would tell you, he is a top 3, if not top 2 guest. And I mean, like, if I go, hey, you wouldn't even know it. What he talks about, you guys love. He's wonderful. He's a good friend of mine. We went to Guam together. Where'd we go? We went to
Bahrain,
Yeah.
Singapore, and Diego Garcia.
and we learned that people love Filipino cover bands.
Is Diego Garcia in Mexico? It sounds
No,
like it
it
should be in
doesn't
Mexico.
it sound like that's all you think out there.
I know a guy named Diego Garcia.
Yeah, tell me he has an island that he needs to claim.
Yeah.
Please welcome Aaron Bowden, everybody.
Yeah, well, first of all, those posters look awesome. Man.
Yeah.
That's great.
I've been blessed. I have like 2 of my friends that are great
Yeah.
people. Love to Brock and Eddie. They love to draw Edgar. They love to draw them, so we're very blessed.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, we're gonna
Awesome
sell
work.
those on the website.
Yeah,
as
those
well.
are cool.
Yeah, I mean, I come up with a theme and I run with it.
Yeah.
And then joining us via the power of Skype, he has a wonderful website, a wonderful YouTube channel. He had a video that kind of inspired this episode, and it blew up. And I'm so happy for him because the guy's been working on his YouTube channel, and he's finally getting the respect he believes. It's from Unbeliever Media. Please welcome Jerry. Right?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Jerry, thanks for coming on. You're so important. You go by one name. You're like Beyonce, Madonna.
Yeah, I started doing that a couple of years ago, and I also started making people drive me around in the back of their car.
That's
so
great.
I had a friend, he needed to go to surgery. I said, yeah, dude, pick me up.
And you just sat. So he had to go to surgery, and you sat in the back of his car while he drove himself to surgery?
Oh, yeah, he was bleeding so bad.
Oh, that's great. I like that you did it just so you didn't get blood, and then it just became a lifestyle choice.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about your website. We were talking before the show. I love your YouTube channel. Excuse me. I love your YouTube channel. It's such an interesting take on conspiracies. I was telling you, you're kind of the Adult Swim of conspiracies. I hope everybody who listens to this comes and listens to you. Now, you put out this one video, and we'll get into that. And I go, who's this fucking guy with the video? So I go there, and you had like a couple hundred or 1,000 subscribers. And then this video just took off, and now you have more subscribers than I do, and I'm so happy for you.
That's right. Yeah. I was lucky just because I was going to talk about that content a couple months back, and I just never really did. YouTube's a weird place. After a while, when you get no views, you just kind of, you're not motivated to continue shit. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to put this video up. I don't even care. It took me like a week to do because I'm lazy and shit. So I put it up. Nobody watched it the first day. And I told my fiance, I'm done with YouTube, man. I've been at it for 2 years, made $100. I'm out of here. I'm the fuck out of here. And went to bed, woke up, I had 20,000 views, couple extra 1,000 subscribers. It just didn't stop, man.
Nobody understands how exciting it is when you wake up and your YouTube video has like thousands of views. It's like, it's like Christmas. You're like, it's packages, free gifts.
But I got to play it cool, you know what I mean? I can't come out. I can't come out the gates being like, hell yeah, guys, 30,000 views. Hell yeah, I got to play cool. But by the time I got to 1 million, I was texting some of my friends and hey man, fuck you. And they're like, why? Bitch.
You're like, tell your friend you got fuck you views. Is that what you're saying?
He's like, dude, I put up a video of my kid playing in the park. Only my aunt watched it. I don't care. I got more views than you.
Yeah, that is so good, dude. That's a wonderful feeling. And I mean, like I was talking to Brandon, he's like, yeah, dude, I saw a guy's video. Brandon Schaub, like, really liked your video. And we'll get into kind of some of the stuff he's been talking about this. But and then I remember, like, I saw him like, this is such a good video, man. And then I went back, I'm like, 1.5 million. Holy shit, dude. Like, that's
it blew up. It blew up.
It's almost like winning the lottery. It is basically that. I mean, you have very few chances to get any exposure on YouTube. It doesn't really matter how good of a video you make. Dude, some of my closest friends are some of the best creators on the platform. They have like 2,000 viewers. It's
They're
unbelievable.
getting
dude.
under 500, under 500 views, 2,000 subs. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, we used
So
to
it-
do. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, we used to do YouTube videos and spend 2-3 days producing them, shooting them like little mini short comedy sketches, and 200 views.
Yeah, it is crazy, man. My friend inspired. I've talked about this. My friend Jordan Lee, who I'm going to get on, has a wonderful story about YouTube. It changed his life. He couldn't get anything going in Hollywood, like many of us struggle. And I struggle, dude. I'm telling you, man. If I hadn't been doing the podcast or the YouTube, no one would know me. I mean, I would have nothing going on. It's all self-made, And he couldn't get anything going. And I mean, he's doing acting bits here and there. I mean, he's a talented man, but he just saw this guy who decided to be, who he followed and banned. The guy had 100,000 subscribers, and he's like, "This is what I did." So my friend decided, "Oh, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna put out a video every day." Dude, this guy now, after a year and a half, travels the world, paid for by fans.
Yeah.
It changes lives, and it's like he's kind of like you, Jerry, where he has a lot of editing, whereas I'm more like live streaming, because at some point I go, you know what, I don't want to be an actor, I just want to rant and tell dick jokes. How do I do that? And I go, I'm just gonna live stream me talking.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. I love multi-layered dick jokes. So today is based kind of inspired by Jerry's video. We're calling it The Ultimate Fighting Conspiracies. Okay, and I just kind of let's start at the beginning, and it's all based on UFC 223. Is it? What was the
229?
229 UFC 229
total event.
Khabib versus McGregor and the chaos that came from that. But I want to back it up. I want to go earlier and get into just basically where this all starts, and it starts with. I don't know how the fight, what initiated this, but basically Khabib slaps Artem Lobov. Is that his last name?
Artem Lobov, the true goat, the 13 and 14 goat of MMA. 14 men were able to conquer that mountain, but only 14.
There should be some kind of regulation board. I know I'm going to lose all the libertarians on this, but there should be a regulation board on nicknames.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You should not be able to give yourself a nickname, the GOAT, when you got 14 losses.
I think no, man, it's appropriate. Anybody who can achieve the goal of 14 losses without retiring, I mean, he deserves to be called the GOAT. I won't argue his credibility of it, but believe me, it's an earned title.
I'm with you, dude. So I don't know how the original fight started, but it's probably most likely Conor McGregor talking shit about Khabib because he's in his weight class, which is hilarious that Artem calls himself the GOAT when I think there's a legit argument for Khabib being the real GOAT. He's 26 and 0.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, Artem actually, rumor has it. See, it's still unconfirmed from Habib's side. Habib says that Artem Lobov called him a pussy, and his response to that was Habib and his friends just met up with Artem in the hallway, just like they would in Dagestan, and Habib says, I gave him a slap. That's how he says it. He gave him a slap, and it's really not that, like, to me, you know what I mean? It's not that bad of a slap, but I guess for them, whatever cultural line got crossed right there, it got crossed. And
Hey, but he was ambushed. It was not a one-on-one.
Oh yeah.
It was.
No.
Yeah.
It was Habib's whole team.
I
It
can
was like
see-
10 dudes.
I can see Arlem just being like, "Hey, I'm gonna take this as a loss.
Yeah.
And look like a little bitch."
Give me an
because-
L, dude.
Yeah, you're gonna
Give me
take
an
that L. So that's why
I got 13. Give me a 14th L. One's lost in a hallway. I'll fucking take it.
Oh, and he was by himself?
He's basically,
Yeah,
I
he was
think he
by
had some
himself.
security
Like,
with
yeah.
him. But
I think actually Abu Baker might be there. The guy that got punched by Connor at the later on at the event. I think that's the only other dude that was there, and he's like a big guy, but it's still matter to what 10-on-2.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. He is a big dude, and they tried bigging up, but it's like you got like fucking 15 Dagestanis right there, 15, 20 Dagestanis, and Dagestanis don't fuck around, dude. Like, they're from that part of the world where it's like, dude, a fight could break out any fucking moment. birthday parties, bar mitzvahs, they're Muslims. But the point is that it could go off at any moment. And so this starts to fight. And it gets into, riles up Connor. Now, Connor starts talking some real shit. And he basically calls out the people in Khabib's whole squad, saying that they, you Dagestan, what is the exact quote? Dagestanis don't do that to Dagestanis, or I forgot what the exact quote was, but it's basically calling him out on his ethnic group and his background, and that you don't they don't do that.
He said a bunch of stuff like my Chechen friends know all about you, which is like a direct reference to racial conflicts in that part of the Caucasus Mountains between the Avar, which is the racial group that Habib belongs to, and the general Chechens. And it's sort of I guess the best way to compare it is like if you think 1950s America black-white race relations. It's very similar there in the Caucasus. There's some more dynamics. That's really like a literally black and white way to explain it.
Right.
But that would be, that's the line a lot of journalists have said is like, that's actually kind of racist what he was saying. You know, it would be a comparison to like saying that maybe, imagine a white boxer telling Mike Tyson, "Oh, you're an Uncle Tom." Like it's almost like crossing that racial line.
Well, we've seen Connor do that with the Even though I didn't take it. Maybe you could explain how you felt about a white guy telling an athlete that is going to make $400 million, dance boy dance, and and they're like, oh, racism and slavery. You're like, dude, slave me for $400 million. I'll fucking buck dance for you, motherfucker, for $400 million fucking dollars, dude. How about you, Aaron? Would you do it for $400 mil?
Oh, easy. Just for clarity, like I think all that shit's fine. Years and years ago, when Chael Sonnen was selling a fight with Anderson Silva, he kept making references to Portuguese people or Brazilian people not even understanding technology. Dude. Nogueira brothers tried to feed a bus a carrot and shit. And I think that's hilarious. It's racially insensitive for sure. But it's selling a fight, What am I going to do? Hey, 250-pound, man killer.
Yeah.
Don't be mean.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier called him the white man's Negro. Called him a gorilla back in '74 or something when they did. I think it was might have been the Thrilla in Manila.
It's very interesting how we accept some things from, and who, in particular in the fight game, who people get behind and who they don't. Like when John Jones fights Daniel Cormier, they hate Daniel Cormier. Even though, like John Jones, I'm 607 for life, dog. We're from the same place. Just does scumbag shit constantly. Fucking
That's America.
Drinking and driving, hitting pregnant chicks. They lose their baby. Sure. Fucking coke. And listen, dude, I'm not judging you on coke. You want to do coke before a fight? That's madness to me. Everybody thinks that's a performance enhancer. If you think coke before a fight is a performance enhancer, you've never done coke.
Yeah.
Because you would literally have to be doing scoops in between the fucking rounds for it to do anything.
And then you can't breathe. Then you can't breathe. Yeah. You can't breathe, but you got energy. That fucking doesn't work out.
You better win in the first minute.
Yeah.
That's a Chuck Liddell conspiracy too. There's a lot of talk of people think that Chuck Liddell was consistently on cocaine for a lot of his fights. I think there's a lot of evidence for like when he was retired, he for sure showed up to events, as you should show up to events. But there's a conspiracy out there that Liddell was taking some rails before fights.
There's not, because we know that he would do ecstasy like a day before the fight. Like that's a famous Dana White story about how he would show up. He was at the Hard Rock, and the night before a fight, he sees Chuck Liddell there just fucking rolling on Molly with fucking chicks. So you're breaking every rule of the fight game, which is don't bust a nut before your fight, because there goes your chi, and then you're on fucking drugs.
Dopamine's good thing USADA isn't in right now.
Oh, dude.
Imagine.
Well, what about the fact that Dana White basically said that they don't have to tell us who flunked and that they're not going to announce who flunked till the investigation is over.
But I think that's good. You don't think so?
Well, the problem with that is that John Jones could have been fighting for 2 years after we know that he had a possible flunk. I mean, like, there's a debate about...
Because you ruined their name.
Right.
Once you say...
Yeah.
You wouldn't say they pop and they don't really pop. Now their name's fucking trash.
It's a double-edged sword, dude. It's a double-edged sword. What do you do?
Well, you think there's like all those tribunals they have, like, you know, as a fight fan, it kind of sucks that there's a film reel where Anderson Silva has to tell essentially a judge, like, my dick don't work. Yeah. I got to use pills because my dick don't work, you know, for an hour or whatever. Like, that kind of sucks on your legacy.
Yeah, and dude, it's like there's a difference between taking steroids and taking a dick pill. Like, I mean, whatever benefit you get from a dick pill, it's not enough to win a fight. You know, HGH steroid, like, dude, nobody's winning fights with boners unless you're ground and pound and you're just grinding on them, right? Which is the famous Dennis Rodman thing that he wouldn't wear a cup. So when people tried to post it, he would just grind his junk on them and they would get weirded out. That's the only time I could see you win that shit. So we're going back to the whole, with the whole thing, the fight game. That's a real interesting point. You guys are beating each other up, and then he says something, and then you get your feelings hurt. So now you want to hurt him more. I don't know. Khabib's, you know, this guy's been fighting fucking grizzly bears since he was a kid, you know, and he's from where it's like, dude, look, honor's a big shit in those areas.
I watched a documentary on him, and they were in Dagestan, and he had to tell the camera guy, stay with me because the guys in my village will try to fight you, just because that's what we do. We fight all the time for fun. The camera guy's like, and he's like, no, serious, you got to stay with me. They'll fight you. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that even adds more to this 26-0 fucking record he has. Like, in a land that should be called Fight Club, this guy has beat everybody. Like, he's that dangerous of a fucking dude.
He's scary.
Yeah, he really is. He really is.
Would not want to be in a bar
that documentary
fight.
you're talking about. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
It's called Anatomy of a Fighter. It's by a guy, Will Harris. There's a bunch of clips in there where you can kind of yourself, you know, being from the West, compare your knowledge compared to their knowledge when they get introduced to stuff from the West. Like, they tried to play basketball, and those guys didn't even understand dribbling. They just tried to tackle each other and beat each other up. The filmmaker is shooting 3-pointers while the other dudes are punching each other on the sidelines, you know? Dude, it's a different world.
Just so much testosterone over there, dude. Just, I mean, and now, like, if I'm Conor, I'm like, I think Conor's big mistake was not doing a bunch of press conferences with this guy.
Yeah.
When he limited it to 1 or 2, he fucked himself.
You think it would have fucked more with Khabib's head if you would have seen him every single day?
What you gotta do, dude. Look how he got in Jose Aldo's head. I mean, they made that a world. He was just relentless.
Because he did get it Khabib's in his mindset, not too much, but you could tell he was literally like, let's talk. You know how he's like, he was literally beating up. He's like, let's talk.
Let's talk now.
Yeah, let's talk now. And I'm just like,
the best thing he could have done was to talk about how he doesn't have balls enough to stand and fight with me, because that would be his only hope.
Yep.
And there was no hope with that either. His only hope would be to be able to knock him out.
Mayweather used that as a tactic. When he first got out of prison, his first fight, he purposely had his opponent take charge of doing all the press because he knows it takes it out of you. Yeah. So he should have had Khabib just doing a bunch of stuff like him and Mayweather did, and just getting in his head and stand up and fight with him, because you can't fuck with him on the wrestling mat.
Yeah,
you're done.
Well, Conor knew if he didn't train enough, he wasn't gonna beat him. So that's another thing that was going through his head. Either way, I ain't gonna beat this motherfucker, so I might as well just fucking try to beat him by really training.
I mean, I don't know. I think as a fighter, you think you could win every fight. But what he didn't do is use his strength, which is shit talking.
Yep.
And like he's gotten in everybody's fucking head. And this is the first time he didn't get into somebody's head. And when you talk about his wrestling, he's known for throwing Daniel Cormier around. In practice, they talk about it.
Yeah.
He throws an Olympic wrestler around. This isn't like a job. This is his life. He's been doing this forever. And like, so he gets in Artem's head. He gets in, and this starts the fight between them. So when the fight with, who was it? Was this going to be the Tony Ferguson fight where he was on for the bus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, then it got switched to Ali Aquinta. Yeah,
because Tony Ferguson got hurt. But he shows up. Now, here's where we go. Do we believe that this guy put out something, kind of gets this ball rolling, and then we'll get into what Khabib said. But basically this guy on Reddit, and by the way, I love fucking Reddit. Okay? I just fucking love it. I've abandoned listening to everything else and I go on this. But I'm trying to find the name of this. A Reddit user named Hoosier Pride put out this thing that's been taken down, and I just searched the web forever, and finally someone copied and pasted it to something. But he basically, it's called, did the UFC play a role in the UFC 223 bus attack, where this all starts? And it's basically, it goes, for a long time I was suspicious about an official explanation about the bus attack at the Barclays Center by Dana and the UFC. And so Rat Fuck became a detective, dove into this whole Black Beast style. I don't even know what that meant. It's almost like he had a heart attack halfway through typing that. But I guess that means he's going to go deep into it. And basically, what he's basically saying is there is evidence that the UFC kind of let this happen, and kind of maybe that they didn't know that it was going to escalate to that, but they knew that Conor versus Khabib would be a huge sell, and that something big would kind of would basically make the pay-per-views explode.
Right. They must have let some of it happen. How you let 30 hooligans in?
Well, there's actually a video of a woman.
That's my question, is why was Conor McGregor there in the first place? Like,
well, he's trying to defend Artem at that point.
Right.
That's what
he
said.
said he went there.
He's not even
ganged up with his boys in the same way Habib did.
Yeah.
That's his.
Right.
That's
no,
what
I don't mean there in the fight. I mean there in general. He's not even in the UFC at this point, right? He was just happened to be there to hang out with.
No,
his
he
buddy.
didn't just happen to be
he
there.
Flew
he
for that.
Flew in
he
for
flew.
that.
He got
flew
his.
there for
Yeah,
that.
he got his jet plane.
Oh, so the slap was the day before.
Yeah,
or
like
something.
a day before, a couple days
I see.
before, and then he's like, I gotta fucking be
Ride or
Irish.
die,
I gotta be
right?
Irish, and I gotta go represent.
So there's actual video, and you can see it on YouTube. We're not going to show it because that's how you get the shit flagged. But there's a video of a employee named Victoria Kogan, Coghlan, and she's in charge of communication director at UFC. Okay, she's not part of the Mac Life according to this thing, and she can be seen leading the entire group of Conor's entourage.
Yep.
Into this elevator, which is kind of funny. It's almost like some old kind of like comedy where it's like the whole mob's coming, but they got to wait on the elevator.
Right,
They're like, doo, 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 and they're all just sitting there looking at their watches. Hey, how's your family doing? Right? And then the doors open and they all run after him. But she let him in there. So the notion that the Barclays Center or he just bum rushed and there's nothing to do isn't exactly true. And I'm not saying this lady is a bad person. I mean, like Conor McGregor, your biggest star, just walked through. I'm sure Dana White's like, green light anything he wants to do. Right. We need him, let him go. So they kind of he brought him down there. All right, so he gets on the elevator. They go down.
So to remember, the third round of the Mayweather-McGregor tour was at the Barclays Center, right?
Right.
So it's almost, is that a staging place for them to do operations? Because the owner of the Nets is a Russian billionaire.
Oh yeah,
right?
Who
owns the team. So it's almost like, here's a little staging place. We did the Mayweather thing here. Maybe they didn't have it exactly planned out, but we'll do it at the Barclays Center because we control that environment.
And it's just chaos. And it's where like, hey, you're going to do some weird shit, do it here. Because the Barclays Center is like, nobody's going to watch the Nets. They need some fucking kind of business going on there. Right?
Yeah, that's actually part of the problem is that because that took place at the Barclays Center, you would think that Barclays would come out and say, hey, hey, we fucked up with security. We should have been paying attention. We're sorry. Nah, nothing.
Yeah.
You would expect that if I showed up somewhere to beat the shit out of someone and got there and eventually, terrorized the bus and broke a bunch of glass, they would come out and put out a public statement, Twitter, Facebook, something, and say, yo, guys, we fucked up. We shouldn't have let that dude in. Hey, our bad. Now, they said nothing. They took essentially no responsibility for it in the same way you would if you had made sure that was going to happen. Right. So, I think most people would agree the UFC couldn't have expected people to get, what happened to Mike Yesa, what happened to Ray Borg. They can't expect people to press charges and lawsuits and all other shit, but they for sure let Conor and his team back there for whatever happened. There's so little security between not just Barclays, but from the UFC too. There's no fighter handler right there either.
Well, and what is very interesting is something that Khabib came out later on, was also talking about, was basically, and this is his quote, I had a camp of 20, consisting of 20 people with me for the Iaquinta fight. We have rented our own bus to get to practice and back. What's interesting? UFC told me that I must ride alone for the media day. Can't bring your crew with you, okay? So I didn't go with my team. I went with the fighters from the red corner. I had 2 people with me, and one of my guys was my manager, okay? Look at it carefully, which is interesting. So now they're saying, hey, don't bring your people. You can't bring your people. You're the UFC, 155 champ. You can't bring your entourage with you?
Strange.
That's so fucking strange, right? So then you can't bring, and all this is allegedly, okay? So don't get on me, Dana White, who's a nice guy. When I met him, I have no problems with him.
Here's another, just a little tidbit is Mikhail, and sorry if I butcher these names, Prokhorov. He's the owner of the Nets, Russian oligarch.
You ever know his story, right?
He and Khabib went to the same college, different times. It's called the Financial Institute. It's changed its name over the years, Moscow Financial Institute, or the Financial...
Weird connections
on that. Yeah, weird, just
little,
Weird
connections on that. You know his whole story. He made a bunch of money in, energy in Russia. So one day he goes to this big convention. He had a giant yacht full of nothing but 10s, smoking hot 10s, and fucking bikinis, fucking balling, right? Somebody accused him of bringing hookers. So his company goes, it's so embarrassing. We're buying you out. We're buying out all your stocks. He fucking cashed out. Dude, 2 days or 3 days later, this Russian stock market crashed. He's the only one who fucking had his money. Isn't that crazy?
With the Russians.
Nice. How lucky.
How lucky, dude.
Once women saved the day.
Yeah, hot, hot ladies saved the day. So Khabib gets told, don't bring your entourage. Done, okay? So now he's on the bus. Here's where it gets weird. The bus is leaving, and he goes, okay, I wish I had my people, blah, 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 blah. Look at this carefully. The bus is going out, and then all of a sudden it stops, backs up. Why? We were almost out. Now you see that the crowd is running at us. What is the bus driver doing? He's supposed to get out of there, but he stops and goes. It doesn't just stop. He reverses it.
Yeah, there's something up with the door right there too, the sliding door, because everybody, it's a bunch of fighters taking the footage, so the footage is all fucking shitty. But that metal sliding garage door is supposed to come down right there, and it's stopped halfway, almost right where the bubble of the bus comes.
Yeah.
So that's weird in itself. Why wouldn't that be opened all the way?
Yeah. Why is that closed?
Your Barclays Stadium, you got a bus leaving with pro athletes on there, $2 million worth of assets for a company that you obviously have a hand in, you know what I mean, in some capacity, and you don't open up the way for their bus to leave. You know it's leaving.
Yeah.
You got all those fighters there, and they're on their way out.
And I'm sure that Barclay wants to play ball with the UFC because the UFC puts on fights. And everybody wants to fight Madison Square Garden. How many people want to fight at the Barclay? What a great way to get in with them is to play ball with them.
Dude, an NBA G League would have had better security in that situation than those MMA champions in the biggest league in the world.
So, I mean, like, I just don't think that the UFC thought would get to that.
For sure. I mean, they obviously had to have thought it would at least get to the Nate versus Conor bottle throwing, right? We know Conor's good for some destruction, some local hazard, but absolutely to the extent that like what happened to Mike Chiesa is that I think that's where it crosses the line, is a fighter legitimately got hurt, you know? And I think they couldn't have expected somebody to actually get hurt. I think they tell Conor, maybe not tell him, but it's that gentleman's rule, like, okay, man, don't take it that far, you know?
I thought they just wanted them to rough up the bus a little bit, kind of scare Conor. They didn't think this fucker was literally going to get a dolly.
Not scare Conor.
I mean, scare Khabib.
Scare Khabib.
Yeah, I didn't think they would actually expect him to get a fucking dolly and toss it across that thing.
Well, it's just so interesting because you know the Irish like to fight too. So you're getting these two cultures, probably having some like.
They like to drink, both of them motherfuckers.
I don't know. I don't know if the Dagestan, is it mostly Muslim? Because if it's mostly
they're mostly Muslim.
They don't drink.
No.
I mean, they could be like Mormons, where if Jack Mormon said that they drink, but they tell everybody they don't drink. It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But I mean, the truth is, it's like he doesn't drink, but they both come from the fighting Irish. I mean, like that's a culture that fights. Famous Irish boxers forever.
There's two, and this is, you know, it's super tinfoil hat, but there's that, you know, that aspect that we won't get into it fully because there's tons of videos, tons of stuff about the MK Ultra athletes, and people think Conor is one of them. You know, he's been handled by Chael Sonnen and Dana White. You can see these glitches where he just freezes. He doesn't talk. He's got Dana White touching his back and then slapping his wrist. He's on live TV, say something nice about, I think it was Jose Aldo, and he just stands there all glitched out. Like, you know, you can see him on
I've heard
on ESPN, and Chael's giving him the horn signals, and he literally looks like he goes into a trance. And there's other athletes, you know, Serena Williams. Some people believe the first one was Tiger Woods, because his dad Earl Woods was in Army intelligence. Tiger Woods was on the Mike Douglas show in the 70s, 2 years old, smacking putts in from 10 feet with Bob Hope on there, and Bob Hope is one of the original MK guys. He used to get all the broads for the through his Hollywood connection, got him MK Ultra through the military, and then so now that stuff, you know, we've gone over it about the singers, the rappers, the stars. It's the athletes too.
Someone said that. They brought up, do you think athletes could be MK Ultra? I'm like, I don't know, but the more and more I think about like LeBron James is different than anybody we've seen. I've never seen anybody get this much television love and carry such a corporate line of, like he just follows the narrative of what the left wants to say. And like, dude, he's got a show on HBO and Showtime. That is being a blood and a crip. You don't do that, dude.
One of the things that LeBron does, that a lot of people don't really notice, is he is fully conscious of the entertainment value of the whole spectacle, right? So not just like making a dunk and flexing, but even his transitions from one side of the court to the other, he's putting on a bit of entertainment. The way he looks around, if you look at phantom footage of him, he's always putting on a show for the cameras, and he's always increasing that entertainment value of the LeBron James brand. Right, so he's internalized that corporate speak, where after every game, hey, that was a good team. We played hard. We could have done this better. We could have done that better. Real easy, non-controversial.
Example
when a popular topic comes out, he's always on that side, whatever the most popular thing is, you know. And that's mostly him being like brand aware, you know, understanding that 13-year-old kids are going to buy a bunch of LeBron James shoes now, and he's got to keep up this particular image.
I want to ask
right?
you about that. You had something to say real quick?
Oh,
actually?
well, that's why I think on the Laker game, if you notice, everyone's trying to fight. He's the only one who's like, hey, fuckers.
Well, because two of his best friends are on the other side.
Yeah.
Like the Banana Boat crew's on the other team.
And I know, I found it a little bit impressive. I was like, holy fuck. There's literally blows. Everyone's in a fight. And you honestly were like, hey. But like everyone says, his brand. He's got to protect it. He's not stupid. Chris
Paul looked up to him like his dad just busted him,
Yeah.
like fighting the neighbor. He's like, please spit on me. And LeBron's like, be nice, son. That's how we got to do it. Let me ask you something, because you said whatever brand, whatever side's more popular. I think a lot of people want to be, LeBron versus Michael Jordan. You know, Michael Jordan is very conscious of not taking political sides. You know, it's a very famous line of his, Republicans buy sneakers too. But LeBron seems to have thrown that all out the window and gone very hard on his one side. And I do feel like that's a little MK Ultra-ish, because... You know, it's like when you see Jennifer Lawrence do it, and like her movies have suffered.
Yeah.
And you get into like, at some point, they tell you got to jump on the sword. And it's almost what you've said before, where it's like they're going to embarrass you publicly.
Yeah.
They're going to pull you aside and tell you they're going to embarrass you publicly. But with him, it's kind of worked out in his favor.
Because it's hard with sports, unless you're Michael Jordan.
Unless you're LeBron James trying to relate to what Jerry just said, which selling 13-year-old kids, in particular inner city kids, your sneakers in a sense of, hey, you got to fucking, I'm like you, dude. Even though since I was 13 years old, I've been driving Hummers and living like a fucking king.
Right, taking PTS or taking PEDs all the time.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
Remember, too, though, Michael Jordan's father was murdered, man. He had his blood sacrifice. And if you watch him on Oprah, not long after it, his reaction's very odd to a guy who, two guys supposedly robbed him while he was in a car. And she had him on it. She goes, aren't you mad at the guys? He goes, not really. Haven't really thought about it much. Don't. And death is different for everybody, but it's a strange reaction, man. They have,
everybody.
But you got to pay the piper with blood, and then they're going to embarrass you. Black athletes, black rappers, actors, they like to put them in dresses. That's one of their things. They dress you up in a dress.
Look at,
and then
the only one is like Cat Williams, Dave Chappelle, and they kind of get ghost for a little bit.
Dave Chappelle said no to the dress.
Yeah, and he got ghost for a little bit. Yep. He's South Africa. All of a sudden, he's in Africa.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you take a look at LeBron, you remember he said they painted the N-word on his house? And there's no evidence of it. There's no picture of it. He just said it, and they ran with it. And it's like, the people
that happened.
What?
He says, yeah, that, like, the extent of it is it happened.
Yeah.
And then you're supposed to go off of that.
And they're like, it's almost like Hillary, where they just run with what he says.
Yeah.
There's no fact check. It's like, oh, the king just said that, or Hillary, and they just run with it. It's very interesting, dude. I mean, like,
when stuff fits a narrative, you don't necessarily have to like qualify something whenever it fits your narrative already.
Right.
So even if nobody did come and paint the N-word, and maybe somebody like casually used it in passing while they walked by him. Like, it's all opportunities for them to attach it to the more popular narrative.
I can relate to you.
He can't walk around, without getting. For sure, LeBron James has a commercial in the waiting about the time he got harassed by police. I promise. Give it a couple of months. I promise.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's all part of the narrative.
They have to relate to these people. I'm not going to say names, but there's I know female comics that are huge, and all they talk about is how hard it is to be a woman in Hollywood, and there's just sexual predators everywhere. And I'm like, how many TV shows do you have to have before you go, I've had it pretty good? Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you didn't go through anything, but the notion that because when you did open mics, a dude you didn't want to have sex with wanted to have sex with you and hit on you, doesn't mean this fucking, I guess it does, it is a pit of vipers, but doesn't mean you're a second-class citizen.
You got to believe them.
Well, that's how
that's
they relate
what they
to
say.
women.
Yeah, you got to believe them.
Yeah,
true.
Don't say you don't believe them. Oh my God.
Nope, can't say that.
And then what about Amy Schumer coming out? Oh, dude, I'm not gonna do any and these Super Bowl videos, commercials. Nobody was asking you to do a Super Bowl commercial.
I am broken up about that, man. This is my outpouring of emotion about it now. I'm having that moment.
Do you want to have? Okay, we'll be quiet. Have your moment.
Oh, it's past. Sorry.
Okay, my bad. So let's get into your video, man, and I want you to take it through. What made you decide to do this? What's the name of the video? So when everybody listens to this thing, come check out your stuff.
The video on my channel, it's called "How Conor McGregor Exposed the Khabib Nurmagomedov Conspiracy," and it's episode 3 in a series that I call Dangerous Ideas. Essentially, I've been an MMA fan now for, I guess, like 20 years. Back in Pride, we used to watch Vale Tudo and all that stuff. And I've been active in everybody's message board, SureDog and Reddit, all over the internet. And since like 2013, 2014, the internet has had this unrelenting hate for Ali Abdelaziz. And the closer and closer Khabib got to the title, the more these stories started to pop up about basically Ali and Khabib's like strange connections to Russian oligarchs, right?
Yeah.
And eventually, after there's a bunch of investigative journalists that have put together different parts of the whole, I guess, story that I put together in my video. Guys like Mike Russell and Karim Zidane, and they've exposed certain parts of it, but the internet has been on all 3 of these major players. They've been on their tail for years and developing this story. And I just took what everybody's been talking about, everybody's grievances and all the factual information I could find, and just put it into one consumable package.
It's great.
There's another channel that did literally the same thing I did, but it's a 20-minute video, and it's kind of boring.
Right.
The only reason why people would refer to mine instead of theirs is because of the production value.
Yeah, you had great production value, dude. I was blown away. Again, it goes back to how great your channel is. So let's just start with the major players, man. So the guy you mentioned, which is his name again, Ari or
Ali Abdelaziz.
And break in there. He's Khabib's manager. And
he's actually probably the most powerful individual in all of sports management as all of mixed martial arts management. He's the most powerful mixed martial arts manager in the business right now.
And it's just an insane story because of his history. It's kind of nuts. Basically, can you break down his checkered past?
Well, the vast majority of this comes via a number of books and people like Mike Russell, investigative journalists, and all these sources and stuff I've cited in my videos notes. But essentially, Ali Abdelaziz attempted to come to the United States probably I think it was 2001, around September 11th, in an attempt to, what he says, to train with the Olympic judocas from Egypt, right? The Olympic judoka team. But they were stopped. They were prevented from entering the country in Egypt and arrested. And around that time, he became an informant for the FBI as a member of what's called the Muslims of America.
Okay, there's a group called the Muslims of America, and I don't have problems with Muslims in America, but this group obviously represents something.
That's an important point to make.
Muslims
is that it's not
America.
A bunch of Muslims in America,
right?
It's a group with that name specifically,
right? It's and like actually, the Patriot Act. There's nothing patriot about it.
Right. No. They specifically chose that name to make that particular argument. Right. It's a tactical setup. That way if you were to say oh, I hate the Muslims of America, that's how it sounds.
Yeah. You're
talking about a specific group.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of evidence that Ali Abdelaziz has given in books like Enemies Within. There's another one too. Unfortunately, I forgot. And where he leads us to believe that he was a member of this group in his attempt to come into the United States on or around September 11th in 2001.
Oh my God.
Specifically from Egypt to New York is the flight that he's referenced. Now he says he's on his way to Colorado, which is where he would end up later on. But as soon as he became an informant for the FBI, they shipped him around the world essentially in different MOA locations. A big thing about the MOA is it's a smaller cell of an actual legitimate terrorist network called Jamaat ul Fukra, and they're crazy. Like they have videos talking about how they hope to support the logistic measures of a World Trade Center bombing from 1991 is when they put that video out. Ali Abdelaziz himself turned over to the FBI videos of their military training, of them taking over cars, buildings, practicing martial arts, which was his job, was to train them in martial arts. Now, again, he himself has said that it was his job and references it in a time period before he's an FBI informant.
Right.
And that he continued to do that job as part of his job as an FBI informant. So it's not just that they were told him to go do it. He was already doing it, according to him.
Unbelievable.
He was caught with 5 passports when he was coming to Colorado. So they got him. He had 5 different or fake passports.
Now, is that when he was trying to train with the Egyptian team? That's when he got busted with 5 passports?
That's when he says the reason he was coming to the States was to train as part of the Olympic team. He's also said that he placed 9th or something like that, when in reality the dude didn't make weight and didn't even compete and was on a deep alternate roster. Right? Yeah. He's so irrelevant to those judicas. It's crazy that he would even try to say it, but it worked. Now, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought up his forged documents, because Jamaat ul-Fukra is actually more popular for their forged documents, as far as the FBI is concerned, than they are their terrorist acts. And as I outlined in my movie, they've done thousands of terrorist acts. Yeah. But every time people get caught and they get thwarted, the person has forged documents, forged passports, forged checks, all things coincidentally Ali Abdelaziz has allegedly been caught doing. He's been caught, according to a number of investigative journalists, forging documents. He's been caught forging passports, forging checks.
Now, is he still doing that? Thing. Has that been up to recently?
This is again back in 2001 and 2003 is when the vast majority of his legal problems happened, as far as that's concerned.
Wow. And
again, some of this is potentially part of his FBI investigation. He hasn't said he's withheld so much information and lied about enough things that it's hard to pinpoint when certain stuff happened, or hey, what did the FBI even make you do? Did you have to get arrested for this? What of this is espionage ops, good guy stuff, and what of this is bad guy, secret, infiltrate America, do bad guy stuff? You know what I mean?
You know what he sounds like to me? He sounds like Snoop Dogg. Now, Snoop Dogg, listen to me. I know you guys think I'm crazy, man, but Snoop Dogg got off for murder on a trial that everybody thought he was a sitting duck for. And then that's why Tupac hated him, because he thought he snitched him out. And then snitched out people. And then he went on to do all these insane TV shows. He's everywhere. This guy used to rap about gangbanging, doing drugs, had a porn line, had a weed line, had everything line, still doing Sesame Street. I mean, that is when you're juiced in, man. So now you look at this guy, this manager. Now he's got all these. You're saying he's one of the most powerful managers in MMA. That sounds like someone who's fucking got connections.
Well, let me throw in one more tidbit, a little thing that makes you go, The lawyer who represented McGregor at his bail hearing in New York, his name is Jim Walden. He is with a firm called Walden, Heron, and Macht. Now, John Heron, Jim Walden, and Timothy Macht were all at one point U.S. assistant district attorneys in the Northern District or the Eastern District for the state of New York. Now, John Heron counseled the NSA and the FBI on terrorism, intelligence, and espionage, right? Now, Jim Walden also repped his name's Grigory Rodchenkov, who's the subject of that Oscar-winning documentary Icarus about the Russian blood doping scandal, who's now in the witness protection program because the Russians were going to kill him because he banned their whole team.
And his
so
family's
that's the same dude who represented Connor And then they got Abdulaziz in there. Like, is it all tied in? Like they're working together in a
God, dude.
thing. Just, coinky dink.
That's insane.
Yeah, he's here in the States, and his family is like literally getting like not punished, but they're not letting him leave Russia.
Oh,
your
dude.
dad's a snitch. You gotta
Well,
pay
he
the dues.
just realized, he's like, fuck it, this could be my way out. Because it's all going to crash and burn. But you were saying some interesting stuff because you really get into the Illuminati. So basically, this guy's a former terrorist. He was like fucking. He was booking fights on like World Series of Fighting.
Yeah. Well, when he worked for World Series of Fighting, and this is pretty much common knowledge. This isn't via a source of any type. This is just common knowledge. He was the president and the matchmaker of World Series of Fighting, while also being the owner, or at least the head manager, of Dominance MMA. So he would have fighters, guys like Justin Gaethje, come in, and he would frequently negotiate with himself for his own fighter to get more money from his own company that he wasn't funding. So, like, in some cases, again, Justin Gaethje is a good example. All respect to him, outstanding athlete. Nobody had heard of him for shit ever. One of his earlier fights in World Series of Fighting, at least in that organization, he made over $250,000 for that fight.
Oh my God!
Right, and Ali Abdelaziz, between the 2 or 3 guys that he had on one card, made himself $250,000, right, from his cut of their take. So the dude, not only was he like on both ends of those deals, he was actually killing that business by not booking the best possible fights, and kept booking his own fighters constantly. They let him go in 2015. They parted ways with him and cited a potential conflict of interest. The whole MMA community, this was like one of the things that exposed me to, it wasn't that people don't like him, it's that people fucking hate him. Was the response to him getting let go. There was one that I saw that was like, World Series of Fighting is going to get a new president, and the top comment, the article didn't even mention Ali. The top comment was, anything that gets that company out of the hands of Ali Abdelaziz is good by me. And somebody else was like, here comes the Yakuza. And then the guy replied, he says, anything besides Ali Abdelaziz.
Yeah,
the
for
MMA
sure.
community hates the guy.
Yeah, I can't see how a terrorist has a wonderful personality on how to win friends and influence people.
Well, he has over 100 clients.
Yeah.
I was clicking on it. He's
reps
got
Cormier.
Eddie, Frankie Edgar.
Oh, he represents
Cody Grabrod.
Really?
Rashad Evans.
Yeah. He's big time.
Yeah, he's big time. For sure, big time.
And if you go into ShareDog, if you go into some of the forums around, I would say like 2015, 2016, you can see forum posters outlining the next 3 or 4 signees. They're like, they would see a picture of Habib and Frankie Edgar, and the top comment would be, Ali's going to sign this guy in a week. Boom, Ali signs this guy in a week. Chris Weidman took a picture. He happened to be with one of Ali's fighters. 3 weeks later, Chris Weidman's in Chechnya hanging out with Ramzan Kadyrov.
Oh, yeah,
You know
that
what I mean?
fucking shady fuck. Right? That guy's a shady
Yeah.
fuck. How about that guy? I love that clip you used where the guy interviewed him about killing gays. He's like, hey, dude, why are you killing gays? And the guy's like, why the fuck did this guy fly in here and talk to me like that? And you just see I could sense the fear of the reporter going, oh shit, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Why you ask such question?
Yeah.
Peculiar.
You're like, yeah, he looks like fucking Larry the Cable Guy, or the guy who likes Larry the Cable Guy. That ain't Larry the Cable Guy.
No.
Right, that's actually probably, in my opinion, that's the biggest mark against Ali Abdelaziz, is his connection to Ramzan Kadyrov. Look, you can make bad business decisions and run companies into the ground. It's not my business. It's not my company. I don't care, right? All these fighters, they don't care what you do. They're getting bank.
Right.
When he started shipping fighters over for Kadyrov's PR movement, that's when shit's real. And for guys like Fabricio Verdum, they say, oh, don't bring politics into it. You guys are bringing politics into it.
He represents Verdum too?
I'm sorry?
Does he represent Verdum too?
Yeah, he does. He does
my
represent
God.
Verdum. And actually, Ali Abdelaziz got Fabricio Verdum to essentially be the ambassador for the UFC in Russia, specifically through the conduit of Ramzan Kadyrov and his Akhbat MMA company.
Akbar. Oh my God, dude. Now, real quick, because we got to wrap it up in about 2 minutes or so. Did you have any weird, like, Illuminati shit about the actual fight? You said, like, times and all that shit?
The actual fight, only that it ended at 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the fourth round. The big old 33 right there staring you in the face. Here's another weird thing, too, is on the Habib press conference at the end, he came out, he did a couple minutes. Remember that? He took his belt. There was a Monster Energy drink and something else right here. And, you know, Monster Energy drink is 666 in Hebrew. He took his belt and he covered it up. Like, fuck you, Illuminati. Then he took his hat off, he did his thing and left. But he specifically covered it up. Because that thing was there
fucking interesting,
to make money.
I could talk to you guys all fucking day. I want to appreciate Jerry for coming in. Jerry, you were excellent. I appreciate you coming on. Please, anytime you want to come on, you got anything, a video coming out you want to promote, please. I mean, at some point my channel's going to be smaller than yours, so you'll be doing me a favor. But I'd love to have you on anytime, Jerry. You're great.
Thanks for having
Aaron,
me.
you're a fucking G.
Thanks,
I want you to do, I got Red Eye Comedy coming out. It's called, Third Eye Comedy Night. It's going to be, I believe, November 21st at the Dojo. I'd love for you to be on that.
Man. Love
and we'll
to.
start doing it. XG, you're a fucking grown-ass man. Aaron, I would ask you thoughts, but we're running out of time. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. This was a fucking wonderful episode, and we'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you guys so much. Thanks, guys.